This is an important moment. This is the beginning of an 8-week adventure that you are not going to believe. Whether you are completely new to programming, or whether you're an experienced engineer, or whether you've already taken this course and you've seen I've updated it and you've come back to get the latest, I have something big in store for everybody. Let's dive in. My name's Ed Donner. I am the co-founder and CTO of AI startup Nebula.io. And before we get started, it's customary in these things to walk you through what we're going to get done over the next 8 weeks, the objectives, the structure, the projects, and how we will position ourselves for success. Except we won't. I'm lying. That's not my jam. People that have done my courses before know that I like to start with action. Let's get right to it. In the first couple of minutes of this course, let's go and experiment with LLMs, which is what it's all about. And there'll be plenty of time to come back later and do that other stuff. So first things first, I want you to bring up a fresh browser window, your favorite browser, whatever it might be. And I want you to go to this website. It is github.com/ed-donner/LLM_engineering, which is the repo for this course. And it's also linked in the course resources. It should be easy to find. This is the repo. We're not going to do anything with it yet. I bring it up because if you scroll down on this first page, you get to see what's known as the README for the course. And the README has everything you need to know. It's got links to other things. It's got links to my LinkedIn, which I'm going to go on and on about. It's got links to setup instructions. It also might look a bit different to what you see here because I'm constantly updating the README to have the very latest information there. And the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be following this instant gratification section here. And you should always look first and foremost at the documentation because that will be super up to date. So take a look through that, and then we're going to get started with our first exploration of LLMs. So I'm guessing that you, like most of the people on the planet, are familiar with ChatGPT, and you have interacted with an LLM over ChatGPT and perhaps also Claude and Gemini and others. And what we're about to do now is also interact with another AI, an LLM, but we're going to be doing it running on our computer. We're going to take an open source LLM built by someone else, and we're going to install it on our machines and interact with it there. And that's somehow a much more exciting proposition, to be actually interacting with an AI that you are running yourself rather than on the cloud. And we're going to use this fabulous product called Ollama to do it. And let's go and do that right now. And as a reminder, you'll be able to follow all of these instructions in the README in a section that's called Instant Gratification. But I'm going to start by going to ollama.com. It's spelled OLLAMA.com, and it's linked in the README. And this is what it looks like. And you can do the same thing basically on a PC or on a Mac or on Linux. It's going to work the same way on all three, which is fabulous. So Ollama, which is named as sort of in homage to one of the first open source models called Llama from Meta. Ollama is a product which runs on your computer, which can run a model and can run it in a very fast, packaged, efficient way locally so that you can interact with it. And the first thing you're going to do is come here, you're going to go to the download button here, press download, choose the system that you've got, press download for your system. It will start to download in the usual way. And then once it's downloaded, you will open that up by clicking on it here. And up it will come. If you're on a Mac, you drag it from here into applications and it appears there. If you're on a PC, you also just install it the usual way. And then once you've done that, you launch it from your applications folder or from its icon or from the start menu, launch Ollama so it opens up in its own screen. And when you do that, a screen like this should pop up. It's Ollama's user interface with a little chat UI, but we're not going to use it. You're now going to press the X button, the close button to get rid of it because we're going to interact directly with Ollama on our computer. And we're going to do it using something called a command prompt. So there's a different way to do this on a PC and a Mac, and it's super simple, and the instructions are in the README. You might be familiar with this. If you're on a Mac, you go to Applications and Utilities, and you double-click on Terminal. If you're on a PC, you go to the Start menu, and you type out PowerShell to open up a PowerShell. If you're on Linux, you know exactly what to do. But either way, you follow the instructions to bring up a command line, and then we will start talking to an LLM. And this is what I see, and you should see something pretty similar. This is on a Mac. On a PC, you would see the word PowerShell, but it's the same kind of thing. And the first thing I want you to do is type Ollama. And you should see a sort of help screen with things you can do with Ollama. And if you don't see that, check out the README. The other thing you can do, just to check it should already be running, if you type Ollama serve, which is the way to start it, it should complain address already in use, which is telling you it's already running. It's good. When we double clicked on it, we started it running. And if it tells you that it started, then that's great too. Okay, so we have Ollama and we have Ollama running. So next, we're actually going to run Ollama. We're going to get it to download a model from the internet and run it on our computer. And you do that with a simple command, Ollama run, and then the name of the model that you want it to download. And we're going to pick a model made by Google that is called Gemma. It is the small cousin of Gemini, their flagship model, but Gemma is the one that they made freely available to everybody. So we type out Gemma, it's spelled Gemma. We're going to use Gemma 3, which is the latest version, and then put a colon. And after the colon, you can choose what size you want. And we're going to choose a really small size, 270M, which means 270 million of these things called parameters that we'll talk a lot about in the future. And that might sound quite big. 270 million of anything sounds pretty big, but most of the time these things are measured in the billions. So 270 million is in fact really, really tiny. And when I press enter, it now downloads Gemma. Now, this might take a couple of seconds for you. It's already downloaded for me, so it was there. It could take a couple of minutes if you've got a slower internet connection. Should be pretty fast. And then once it's done, you will have a cursor like this that means that you are ready to interact with this model running on your computer. So we should keep expectations low. It's a very small model, but still, let's begin. I'm going to say, hi there, my first message to an AI on my computer. And it says, hi there, how can I help you today? I'll say my name, it's Ed. And it says, that's great, I'm Ed. No, that's my name. That's perfect, I'm Ed. So look, this is a very small model and you shouldn't have high expectations with it. What we're going to do now is pick a slightly bigger model and have hopefully a more robust conversation with a larger model. Let's give it a shot. So now you should stop your conversation with Gemma. And the way you do that in that command line is you press Control D. That exits your conversation with Gemma. Control for people on a Mac, it's not the same as Command. Watch out for that. Control D. All right. And then let's go back to the website, ollama.com. And you'll see that there's models in the main navigation here. If you click on that, it comes up with a list of all the different open source models that you can use through Ollama. And there are many of them. We were just playing with Gemma 3. And Gemma 3, you can see it also comes in lots of different sizes. If you just do Gemma 3, you get this version here, latest, which is 3.3 gigabytes. It's quite big. And there's also the one we were just using, which is Gemma 3 270M, which is much, much smaller. And there's a whole slew of different sizes, and you can try these out yourself if your computer's big enough to store them, and then experiment and see how a larger model is able to have a more robust conversation. But for now, we're going to go to models, and I suggest that we pick from here. Let's go with Phi 3 from Microsoft. We're going to try Phi 3 latest. If your machine is big enough to take this, if you have 2.2 gigabytes free on your drive, and if it's fast enough, then you'll see this too. But I'm going to give Phi 3 a shot. Let's see how it performs. So here we go. I type Ollama run Phi 3, and the first time this will take a few minutes to download onto your computer, depending on your network and the strength of your computer. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say hi there. Let's see how it performs. Hello, how can I assist you today? Tell me a fun fact. There we go, here we go. Did you know that the Eiffel Tower in Paris is not as stable on its legs as people might think? It's like we could parts of it to sway up to 6 feet. How about that? All right, tell me another. Okay, the world record for being able to eat the most hot dogs in an hour is held by Joey Chestnut. That I did think I knew as a New Yorker. This happens every year. So there we go. Some interesting fun facts. Hopefully you've had different fun facts from Phi 3. And if you're trying different models, you might get all sorts of different fun facts. So this is the Phi 3 model. And we're now going to try one more. So I do Control D to stop the conversation just like that. And now I'm going to type Ollama run. And now I'm going to pick the biggest model that will run on my computer. And this may not run on your computer, so don't worry if you need to have at least 16 megabytes of RAM on your computer for this to run, and something like 20 gigabytes free on your drive. There's no need to run this if you don't wish, but I want to show you what it's like to run the latest model from OpenAI, which is called GPT-OSS, which is the open source version of OpenAI's GPT model. So this is a big old model, and it's going to download it for you, and that might take a fair bit of time. It's also going to really hammer my computer. So there it is running. We have GPT OSS. This is in fact the 20 billion parameter version. So it's again many times bigger than Phi 3, which is itself 16 times bigger than Gemma 3, 270 million. So this is a big model. We're running it locally. Let's interact with it.